Heaps more chess patterns coming your way. Hoping you're starting to feel those elo gains. I'm definitely feeling the strength just by making these videos and editing them. We're back in Oz. Thanks for putting up with me travel mic set up for a bit. 501. What we need to do here is realize that the two bishop checks don't really work, and that if you play anything like this, the king can run away and we can't really stop him. So what we need to do is realize that the only good check we have is the knight check here. Problem being, bishop takes. We need to interfere with the checkmate defender. This checkmate defender is stopping us. We can't remove him or get rid of him, but what we can do is block his vision. How do we block his vision? We realize that the king literally cannot go anywhere. Any check is checkmate. The other check we have is d4. This would be checkmate, so they have to take en passant, French for in passing. Believe it or not, we didn't always have this rule. Pawns used to only be able to move one square. When we decided to speed up the game by letting them move two, the problem was they'd always jump past pawns. That's why a few years after the fact, they decided you're allowed to do en passant. We completed our goal. We've interfered with the bishop. We can come in for the checkmate. 502. We can see the king's restricted. It has literally nowhere to go. And we're x-ray threatening checkmate in one. We need to do a clearance sacrifice. We need to get rid of this knight. With check, we don't want to put him here because he's just going to get in our bloody way. So he goes the other way. Clearance sacrifice. Queen takes. Come in with the queen to finish him off. 503. We're threatening checkmate in one here. Problem is, bishop's going to take. We need to remove the checkmate defender. So we play a back rank checkmate here to get rid of the bishop so we can come in. 504. If we unpin our queen from the king, it's checkmate. How do we do this? We play our opera mate threat to deflect the rook out of the way to unpin our queen so we can come in with the checkmate. 505. If you're woodpecker in the series or gone through space repetition, I hope your head hurts because that means your hard work is going to pay off soon. We've got a hookmate threat into a swallowtails checkmate. We play the hookmate to force the king into a checkmating net. We come in and play our swallowtails checkmate because it looks like a swallow's tail. 506. Man, chess is beautiful. This is a masterpiece. Look at this. We've got a bunch of different patterns here that we've learned, and it's just amazing how it just makes perfect sense when you combine everything. This is even enlightening for me. This is the 5th time me solving this. Having to actually explain this and put it into my own words to teach you guys is just even better. Pattern 1, we're x-ray threatening the king. Pattern 2, if this knight moves, we've pinned a piece. It's another kind of pattern. This is check. Problem is, king can escape. Okay, how do we stop the king's escape? This is another pattern. We have a clearance sacrifice. We start with the clearance sacrifice. The knight has to take here, or it'll be checkmate. We stop the king's retreat. Now we can play our knight up for the checkmate because the rook's pinned. And our last pattern that we just did, the reason why we sacrificed our rook is we had to plug this hole because otherwise the king could have escaped here. Incredible how that all fits together. We're x-ray threatening a checkmate here. Problem is the rook's in the way. We need to get rid of it. We can play knight to c7 here. The rook must take. And then we can take with the rook. Even though this isn't an opera mate, this kind of pattern, you get stronger and see more automatically the more opera mates you solve. Interesting. We want to play checkmate here. Problem is the knight's going to take it. So we need to remove the checkmate defender. We can sacrifice the queen here, freeing up that spot. If they take back, we're just going to play the checkmate like this. There's nowhere for the king to go. But they might also try running with their king. This is when we can do a discovered checkmate. We can take the pawn, opening up the discovered attack, and there's nowhere for the king to run. 509. Going back to the basics, we've got a ladder checkmate or steamroller, whatever you want to call it from whatever country you're from. The king's looking too cozy here. We want to sacrifice the queen, forcing him into the ladder mate. 510. Believe it or not, this is a pawn checkmate, but we need to create a pinned piece. You want to play checkmate here. Problem is the bishop's just going to take it. So we need to manufacture a pin. We need to create a pin. How do we do this? King stuck, it can't go anywhere, so we need to give a check. We jump in with the knight, give the check, it would be checkmate, so they have to take. We force this bishop into a pin, finishing him off with a pawn. 511. Believe it or not, we're playing queen c5 here. How do we get to this decision? Let's go back. The pattern you need to see is that when your knight gives a check here on the king, it also defends the rook. The only problem with this move is that the king can escape. So ahead of time, you need to open up the scope of this rook, and that would be checkmate. That's how we get to this move, queen c5 check. First thing to calculate, you're stacking a piece. What happens when they take it? Remove the checkmate defender of the pawn, and we've increased the scope of our rook. So now when we give the check, king can't escape. Perfect. All right, we need to calculate the other line. What if they decided to just ignore us and go here? This is when you got to notice that these pawns are stopping the king from going anywhere. The queen's locking him in. So we just got to jump in with a knight, delivering the checkmate here. We've got to remove the checkmate defender, and if you've been working on your hookmates, you'll see the coordination of the knight and rook in this as well. First thing, we use our coordination between the knight and the rook, realizing you can sacrifice on this square. King can't take, so the rook has to. We've removed the rook that was defending this square. We can jump in with the knight. The problem with this check before is that the king could escape. We've plugged the hole with our rook, forced them to take it, so we can both remove the defender and give the checkmate. We got to remove this rook. It's stopping our checkmate. We come in with our rook. King can't take because it's defended by the knight, so the rook has to take. We can then jump in with our knight, and we force this rook to plug the hole. So now when we give this check, the king can't escape. 514. We just got to be able to count to 2 here. 1, 2 pieces, hitting 1 square, only 1 defender. We can sacrifice the queen. Pawn must take. Rook takes. We got our rook mate in the corner. Hope you're liking the series. I'm getting pretty into it, so I'm focusing on this one a little bit more. I'm noticing a massive difference in my games and how I see the board in different ways and which patterns and squares kind of glow a little bit in my mind. I'm hoping you're going to start seeing the same thing soon. Drop a comment if it's doing the same for you. We're still early on in the series though. I plan to get through 800 odd puzzles. Your chess will thank you for watching this series over a pure chess entertainment video, which does nothing for your chess.